Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in again. I hope you managed to catch the introduction which explains what was going on. Today I'm just going to talk about why I got started briefly and then what you need to get going. For the why, let's say we all love music, don't we? If you're anything at all like me, a song gets in your head one day and you start singing it, you're humming the guitar solo or the keyboard part, whatever it may be, but we just enjoy the thing and we love joining in with it. But unless we are specifically targeting an instrument, then generally when we sing along or hum along, we are always humming the melody of the song, the top line, what the singer does or what the guitar soloist is playing. We're aware of the rest of the music, but we don't, we just take it as a collective and it's just supporting what we're singing. And I certainly was like that for decades, just happily sung along to everything. One song changed everything in that for me, and that was Comfortably Numb by The Floyd. Been a favourite song of mine for many, many years, and I love listening to the whole of it. Love Gilmour's closing solo. It's the number of times I've got some dust in my eye listening to that one. I've lost count, to be honest. So many different versions of it too. Do have a listen, if you've not heard it before, have a listen to the 1994 live version on what's called the Pulse tour, the Pulse live album that they did. That's my favourite version of it by a mile, and the way that they stage it as well. Earl's Court, the video was shot at. It's on YouTube. Do give it a watch. It's amazing. And I've listened to that solo more times than I can count and loved it. But I was always listening to the solo. I was aware of the music going on, but the solo was everything to me. And then one day I heard it differently. Don't know how or why, and I can't specifically remember when, but I suddenly became aware of the bass line. And I was fascinated by how such a simple sequence of notes, it's only 5 notes, that when Gilmour's playing the second solo, all it is do, 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 over and over with a few frills added on. It's just 5 notes all the time. And I was fascinated by how something so basic and simple could support something so beautiful as Gilmour's solo. Maybe that's the secret, I don't know. And I listened to it over and over, and within a matter of days I became convinced that I had to learn how to play that bass line. And that's where it started, really. I suppose I could have chosen to learn the lead guitar solo. I doubt I will have ever have made it. And maybe the simplicity of the bass appealed. It isn't simple, but it seemed so at the time. And I just became convinced that that was something I needed to do, and that got me. That was it. That was what got me started. And I would say that to any of you. If you've got a favourite song, then play it over and over, but isolate it. Listen to, each time you play it, concentrate on a different instrument. If you know the band, then you probably know the instruments involved in the band. Try and hear each one individually each time you hear the song, and you'll start hearing the music that you like differently. It's made such a difference to the way I hear music since I've been playing the bass. I tend to hear, if I hum a song now, I tend to hum the bass line more than the melody these days. I'm hearing the bass before I hear the melody, kind of 3-4 years down the line. And it totally alters your perception of how the song is put together and what drives it. And that is solely, it's a daft reason, but that was it for me. One song changed it, and then I started to listen to other songs that I knew really well and had never bothered with the bass of either, and realised what made them so special. and it's just turned music on its head for me. So take that away and have a listen to a favourite song of your own, and see how you get on with it. Break the song down into its constituent instruments. So what do we need? You need four things really to get going, and the obvious one is the guitar itself. Now, you could just play the guitar with nothing else. Like here's Comfortably Numb, for example. Hope you can hear that on the recording. It's not very good quality. Unfortunately, it's highly unlikely that anybody else will ever hear it because it's not loud enough. Anyone outside of a radius of about 3 yards won't have a clue what you're doing. And if you ever play with anybody else, or even if you're just playing along to your own music, you won't hear a thing at all. So the reason why it's called the electric bass guitar and not an acoustic bass guitar is that we plug it into an amplifier, or amp as they're also called. This is my amp, little box of tricks, and an input jack lead goes into that hole there, and the other end of it goes into that hole there in the guitar by means of one of these things. That's a jack cable with the plugs. There are two sizes of plug. This size is 6.35 millimeters, I think it is, quarter of an inch if you're a certain age, and that's the size that it's kind of a standard size that fits guitars and amps. There is a smaller size, which you may already have come across in your life. I think that's about a 3 millimeter, 3.1, something like that. God knows what that is in inches. They are the sort that you would plug into your headphones and listen to music through your phone or your MP3, something like that. No good for guitar and amp. It has to be the 6.35 size. So you've got the guitar, the amp, and the lead, and the final thing that you need is a strap. And the strap kind of takes the weight of the guitar. Now, you could play the thing without a strap. If you sat down and it's sat on your lap like I am at the moment, then sure, you can play it. The second you stand up, you won't be able to play it anymore because it's too heavy. They're not massively heavy things. They weigh about, I don't know, 8-10 pounds, something like that. But nevertheless, you would need that hand holding the weight of it, and that hand holding the weight at that end, and you've got nothing left to play the guitar with. So you wear the strap, and the strap takes all the weight, and it's just dangling over your shoulder, and then your hands are free to just play the instrument. So 4 things you need: guitar, amp, input lead, and strap. Now, when I first started boring people with details of my obsession at work, I'm lucky that I work in a very large organisation, well over 1,000 people involved in it, and of course in any large group of people with a large range of skills and interests, we've got loads of musicians, and some of them very good ones too. I know 1 or 2 of them, and the first advice I got was that there are things called starter packs available, and that's absolutely as the name suggests. Everything that you need, you buy that, and everything arrives in one go that you need to get started playing that very same day. The guitar, the amp, the lead, the strap. The ones I saw, I think there was even like a music stand in there that you could put your sheet of music on, and a tuner to make sure that the thing was playing the right notes and all sorts. The cost was roughly about 220 to 250, I think, on the ones that I ended up tending to look at, that was called by a make called Squier guitars, Squier starter packs. And which raises the point as well that the first thing that you need to be aware of is what your budget, set your budget, of course, and then that will influence everything else that you do. So determine what it is you have to spend, and if a starter pack meets your needs, then go for it. I found one that I love the look of, gloss black Squier precision bass, Fender 15-watt amp, all the extras. I was ready to go. And then I had a fortunate meeting with a very, very good musician who was my former manager at work. And he explained that the guitars that come in a starter pack tend to be cheaper made. They're very new guitars, and they've been made to a much cheaper specification than some of the older ones. Guitars don't, as long as they've been looked after, guitars don't start failing because they're old. The older ones tend to be a better quality. You get far more guitar for your money than you will buying one out of a starter pack. So he explained the way to go was to buy a second-hand one that met the budget and that I liked. And I accepted the wisdom of that and abandoned the starter pack idea at that point and started looking every day at eBay and Gumtree and that sort of thing. There are thousands on eBay, absolutely thousands. And somewhere on there you will find the one that you like without question. Whether you actually win the bid for it, of course, is another matter. I lost out on 2 or 3 that I really like the look of. But around that time as well, I was talking to my good friend Gary one day, and he explained that while he's generally a lead guitar man, in the ones that he buys and sells on at that time, he did have a couple of basses on hand as well, and he fetched them in, and I had a go with both of them. One of them was a red Yamaha, which was very nice. The other one was this one, and I just fell in love with this one from the start, even though it does have a bit of a bad gouge in the top there. The actual mechanics of it are fine. The tone is wonderful. And I bought it off him about a week later, and I've had it now for nearly 3 years and played it ever since. The only point to make in that, of course, is buying a second-hand one. You may be lucky. Sometimes something like an amp and a strap gets included with the sale as well. More often than not, it doesn't. So you have to factor into your budget. If you're buying a second-hand one and you think the guitar is, oh yeah, right, that's a great price, but remember, you've got to buy the amp and the leads and the strap as well, which could well push it up by at least another £50, possibly more. So keep all that in mind and do your maths and work out whether the starter pack is better for you or you prefer an older second-hand guitar. Okay, that's that one for today. Thank you for watching. Next time, actually, I'll hopefully start playing this thing before I send it away back to Gary next week and I get my new one. So I'll have one blast on this before it goes away, and we'll look at the basic strings and hear some notes. So until then, thank you for watching and stay safe, everyone. Bye.